In today's video, I am going to explain anatomy of muscles around shoulder girdle. So it is shoulder girdle muscles. Shoulder girdle muscles. I will explain basic anatomy of these muscles, and on second part, I will explain why these muscles are important for shoulder movement. First muscle is this one. This is trapezius. Trapezius. This is huge muscle. I will quickly explain basic function. Main function is elevation. Elevation of scapula. Elevation of scapula. And adduction. Adduction is you bring scapula towards spine. This is adduction. And one more function, that is upward rotation of scapula. Upward rotation. It's like you kind of open up scapula this way. This is upward rotation. If you look carefully about movement of trapezius, that can move head and neck, but I would like to skip neck movement in this video. I want you to focus on scapular movement only. Okay, this is trapezius. Now, what happens if you dissect trapezius? What do you see when you open up trapezius? Let's go to next layer. Okay, this is deeper layer. You dissect trapezius. You see some shoulder girdle muscles. Let's go to this muscle. Sometimes these muscles can be divided into two parts. This one is rhomboid minor. Rhomboid minor. And what about this big one? You can suggest its name. It is rhomboid major. Rhomboid minor and rhomboid major. However, I prefer treating this muscle as one muscle, that is rhomboid. Okay, there's no strict rule that you should separate rhomboid minor and rhomboid major or combine and name it rhomboid. I see this muscle as rhomboid. Okay, what is function of rhomboid? There are two main functions. One is adduction. Adduction. Do you remember? Adduction, that's when you bring scapula towards spine. This is adduction. Next one is downward rotation. Downward rotation is opposite of upward rotation. Upward rotation is this way. Thus, downward rotation is this way. Then next muscle is this one. This is levator scapula. Levator scapula. What is function of levator scapula? That is elevation. Elevation. Plus, this muscle can do slight downward rotation. Downward rotation. Elevation and downward rotation. Let's see one more muscle from this picture. Next one is this one. This is serratus anterior. Serratus anterior. This muscle attaches to rib cage and scapula. But where at scapula? That's a good question. This muscle attaches to anterior part of scapula, like this. So it's running like this. This is very important muscle. There are two main functions in serratus anterior. One thing is scapular abduction. Scapular abduction. Abduction is you open scapula like this way. Next one, upward rotation. Abduction and upward rotation. Okay, this is serratus anterior. Let's go to front view. This is front view. By the way, this is serratus anterior. This is very wide range muscle. Next one is this one. This is pectoralis minor or pec minor. Pec minor. This guy attaches to ribcage, and this tiny bony prominent of scapula. This is coracoid process. Ribcage and coracoid process. That's about it. There's one more shoulder girdle muscle, but I will not talk about the last one in this video. So, why are these muscles so important? They attach to scapula, but why is that so important? Because you don't focus on scapular movement in daily life, do you? But this is freaking important for shoulder movement. Why shoulder movement? These muscles don't cross on shoulder joint, but they are important. Why? I will explain that. So, on this side, this is right side shoulder. This guy is raising up arm this way. This is shoulder abduction. Shoulder abduction. The angle is like what? 120 degrees? Okay? 120 degrees abduction. On left side, this is neutral position. Shoulder is not moving. Let's focus on position of scapula. On right side, this scapula is moved slightly, don't you think? This is left side, neutral position. This is scapula neutral position. Right scapula moves a little bit this way. What kind of movement is this? This is upward rotation. Do you remember? Upward rotation. So, when you move shoulder joint, your scapula must move. This combination is very important. So, shoulder movement and scapular movement must happen simultaneously. This relationship is so important. Thus, function and flexibility of shoulder girdle muscles are freaking important to accomplish good shoulder joint movement. Now, I want to focus on two movements of scapula. One, upward rotation. Two, downward rotation. Because these movements are important for shoulder movement. Of course, other movements are also important. I want to focus on upward rotation and downward rotation. What kind of muscles do downward rotation? Levator scapula, rhomboid, and oh by the way, pec minor does downward rotation. Sorry, I didn't explain function of pec minor. Pec minor does downward rotation. So when these three muscles get tight, that inhibits movement of upward rotation. That inhibits upward rotation. Thus, in result, shoulder movement is inhibited. Does it make sense? Vice versa, if upward rotation muscles are restricted, then shoulder movements can be restricted, don't you think? Then what kind of muscles do upward rotation? Serratus anterior and trapezius. So that is why flexibility and their mobility of shoulder girdle muscles are so important to accomplish good shoulder joint movement. There are a few other functions for these muscles, like they are important to stabilize scapula. Yeah, stabilization is also important to move our body, don't you think? Like when you do a weight training, you put a lot of load on joint. If your joint and scapula are not stabilized, there is risk to get injury. That is why I usually focus on these muscles to do myofascial release, to increase shoulder joint range of motion. If you liked today's video, please hit the like button, comment and subscribe. See you next video.